I thought since it said scheduled, it just went live.
So did I. I thought it said showtime. So I'm like, all right, cool, it's showtime. But it's now officially showtime.
It's showtime.
It's showtime. Welcome to the OC, bitch. Welcome everybody to the season finale episode of the season one finale. I don't even know what I'm trying to say anymore. This is a great start for us live. Welcome to another episode of the OC podcast. This is the season one finale live show that we've been promising everybody that we were going to do. We're very, very excited to do this show with you guys today. And it's a very emotional episode. As always, I am joined by my partner here, Kenzie. How are you tonight?
I'm good. I'm emotionally devastated after watching this episode. Like, I remember being in middle school watching it, being like so devastated, but watching it as an adult, already knowing everything that's to come after it, I just was like sobbing on a Sunday morning, like, like I don't know what I'm doing. Like, it's a lot to process.
I needed a moment or 10, like after I watched it, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it was really traumatic watching this kind of unfold.
So I've kind of complained about Seth the entire first season, like rewatching it, because I've been like, he's such a little brat, like, but I'm telling you, there is a scene with him. I was like blubbering. I was like, I thought I wasn't going to, because I was like, I don't like him anymore. But here I was, like getting up, like I don't own tissues, by the way, which is like a really weird thing. I think because they've been so hard to find with like COVID, and then like I don't really need them, so I'm like, oh, I'll save them for people who like actually need them. I don't know, but I don't own any, so like I was like, I'm gonna be weird and use a paper towel, like. I don't know. It was a really emotional episode. I needed the commercials for like Tide, or not Tide's Bounty. It's like it's absorbing.
Yeah.
Like maybe I did need the paper towel.
I watched this episode and you're right. Like this was an Adam Brody special from like start to finish, in my opinion. Like for the most part, there's a lot of good scenes with him. I remember obviously watching this is like the third or fourth time I've watched this completely through, but watching this back, I think to myself, oh my God, this episode really is more emotional than I remember it being, even though I remember it being emotional, right?
Yeah.
So it's something.
The thing I love the most about this show is that you're as invested in the kids as you are the parents.
Yep.
Like, I care so much about like all the storylines unfolding. Mm-hmm. Except I do have, once we start talking about the episode itself, I have a lot of questions about one relationship in particular.
Yeah. I can't wait to hear about it.
It's not who you think.
Oh, okay. Does it have something to do with Jimmy?
No, I wish.
Okay, that's disappointing. I love Jimmy, by the way. His character arc has been fantastic. All right, folks, like we said, we're going to cover season 1, episode 27 of the OC. The episode title is The Ties That Bind. Very interesting title, I guess you would say the least. But obviously it has an 8.9 rating. 8.9. It is, I'm scrolling through making sure that it is correct before I say this. It is the second highest rated show of the first season. Anybody like to guess what the first is? The pilot.
Yeah, I was going to say the pilot, but that's really funny. It's like bookends.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because this one's 8.9, and then the season opener or season finale is an 8.9, and this the pilot is 9.0. So, as always, we're going to do our favorite moment each and every week. We're going to talk about the synopsis that is here on IMDb.
Great. I hope it's a good one.
It's solid, I think. I think we're solid this week. On Julie and Caleb's big day, Ryan may be leaving Newport forever. Everyone handles it differently.
It's okay.
Yeah. I feel the same way. It's not perfect. It's not great. I feel like it's very, very neutral. It kind of gets the point across. But at the same time, it's like, all right, cool. Like we understand what's happening, right? You know what I mean? Like we already kind of had an idea of what's which a very, very emotional season episode, because I have a lot to say about a certain individual on this episode that really pissed me off a whole lot. And her name starts with a T and ends with an A. So
okay.
It was a very, very emotional episode with me just wanting to throw something at my screen several times because of her.
I feel that. But I did actually feel for her more this episode than I have in past episodes.
I agree with that statement. There's several moments where you're upset and you're yearning towards her. But there's several moments where she just acts like Teresa, right? You know what I mean? She takes out those moments.
I guess, but she has something different this episode than the previous episodes.
I mean,
but it is like her nature with Ryan to be like this. So it's like, it's hard, but I can understand her, or not. I understand, just like I feel for her more.
Yes.
Like Kirsten understands apparently, which was like,
hey,
what?
Yeah. I completely forgot about that. But okay. We opened the episode when we did the flashback scenes of the previous episode, or actually almost the entire season, because they kind of give you that full-fledged recap almost. But just seeing Teresa makes me mad.
Well, I like the recaps because Oliver was brought up a lot, and then he's brought up a lot in this episode, actually.
Yes, quite a few times. It was funny to me because bringing him up so much, I was just writing down. I was like, oh, I'm guaranteed Kenzie's pretty mad right now. But yes. So we start off with Seth and Ryan, which Seth is killing the jokes right now, right? You know what I mean? Like,
my favorite is like this, like, I understand Seth is one of those people, no matter what the situation is, like comedy is his way to deal with it. But I'm like, just be quiet.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, maybe you shoot blanks.
And then at the end of all these jokes, he goes, I kid. Oh, wait, that's
a bad word.
That's a bad word.
Like, what are you doing?
Like, just stop it. I love, and then we transition to Kiki's on the phone going through everything that Caleb doesn't like to make sure, like, we're counting, isn't the wedding like the next day and we're still like planning everything for this upcoming nuptials, like all the way down to the food. The food is not organized the day before yet. Like
I think she's just double checking, I hope. But because this wedding was planned so last minute in general, I don't really blame them. Like, if it's not.
Oh,
it's
for
not.
Sure.
And it's like, what is Julie doing? Like, why doesn't she have a wedding planner? Why is Kirsten doing all of this?
And Caleb has so much money. It's like a wedding planner would be a drop in the butt. Well, I say that right this second, but karma might have bit him in the butt a little bit here. I do love throughout this entire part that like Sandy's just like taking notes in his head now, because he's like, oh, he doesn't like that. He doesn't like that. Like,
he's saying like the opposite. Like, she's like, make sure there's no cilantro on anything. And he's like, so I should eat cilantro? Like, so it's like in my breath. Like, it's hilarious.
It's so funny to me because like the entire time he's just like taking it. And then my favorite part is they talk about how they're obviously the infamous Battle of Vegas, and how he said that he wouldn't be walking down the aisle with a black eye. He'd be walking down with a broken nose. And I just busted out laughing.
I wonder which would be worse. Obviously the broken nose, but you can't really like cover up a black eye.
But yeah, but like broken nose though can lead to like a black eye though.
That's true.
Like double, and even like double black eye, and especially which is crazy to me because, and I know we kind of carry this out to this episode, but I thought like the punch in the face was like the icing on the cake. Like, this is over. Like, didn't Jimmy cash the tech already?
Okay, so this is like,
I know I'm getting a little bit. I know
this is my thing the whole episode, and kind of just like moving forward is like they already cashed the check. There's nothing. This isn't like a binding contract.
Right.
Like, Marissa's underage. Like, nothing she says can be taken verbatim that like it needs held up. Like this wouldn't be held up in a court of law. Like
No.
I don't understand why she couldn't just wait for the check to be cashed and then be like, I'm still gonna live with my dad. Like
yeah,
is Marissa like scared that she won't be like a person of her word? Like who cares?
It blew my mind because as we're watching the episode, and like I said, I got a little bit ahead of here, but like every single time I'm listening this thing unfold, once he catches the check, it's over. It's over.
Like just stay with your dad. Like I don't.
Wait, so Caleb's gonna bring a 17-year-old to court that he was blackmailing to live with her mom.
Yeah, like that. I just doesn't make any sense. Like and like it wouldn't hold up in a court of law.
Yes.
And like honestly, like they could take some legal action against Caleb.
Yes, for blackmail.
Yeah, like I don't understand.
Neither do I. And I love Kirsten's, laying it on thick. She wants him to make up.
I kind of like, so was Kirsten told that like he's blackmailing Marissa?
That's the thing that I don't understand, because if she was,
they don't show the outcome of the whole Vegas trip, really. Do you know what I mean? Like,
no,
they don't show like, they show Sandy tell Kirsten that Jimmy punched Caleb,
right?
But they never really go into like why.
Exactly.
But like Kirsten kind of draws the line with like kids,
right?
Like,
exactly. So for me in my head, she would be. Like, why would she ask Sandy to stand up?
I understand if she doesn't know, like, the specifics.
Right.
And she's like, hey, it's his wedding. Can you, like, stop hating him for, like, one day?
Yeah.
But, like, I guess it's also made even weirder that, like, Jimmy's so chill this episode. Like he isn't mad.
Yeah,
like,
he's not even all up in like, obviously he punched him. He probably feels good about it. But that doesn't, like, what's going on right now? Like,
it's weird.
So the punch made everything better?
It's weird. I mean, maybe he like punched him and he's like, you know what? Like, whatever. Like,
yeah, but he's about to lose his daughter, right? You know what I mean? Not loser,
yes, but Marissa in this episode makes a point that I like, so it's fine.
Yeah. But as Kirsten is trying she's laying it on thick. She's trying to make sure that Sandy does in fact is at least sociable at the wedding, and come to find out a little bit later, we'll find out why Caleb was really upset about what kind of happened. Okay, so the three amigos here, including Teresa and Ryan, and so this is step one. This is problem one I have with Teresa in this episode. She just blurts out to the party that she's pregnant.
I think it bothers me because she says it like we're under the impression that it's obviously Eddie's, and it's like she doesn't know whose it is.
Exactly.
And it could be Ryan's, and right. Like she could be like putting Ryan in a position where he has to walk away from this beautiful life he has.
Exactly.
And not even beautiful, like he's going to a good school, he has a chance to get into college, like he has all these opportunities that he previously did not have.
Yes.
And it's like the way she just blurts it out is totally fine. If it wasn't like, it could be this guy's.
Yeah,
like,
right.
I could be taking him from your family.
Exactly. Like
you guys did all this work to bring him in, and I could be like swooping in and like.
Right. It just, he's mine. It was like, that was step one of me being extremely upset with Teresa, which I do have an emotional roller coaster with Teresa because there's a lot to really kind of attach to her emotionally throughout this episode. But Marissa and Ryan, I do love this moment. I do love Ryan finally saying, we were broken up.
Okay, but Marissa has like a solid point. Like they were broken. So because it's not like Teresa's some random girl he hooked up with. It's like the love of his life before he left her, never said anything, moved to Newport. Him and Marissa break up for like what, 3 days? And he hooks up with Teresa.
I'm not saying I technically disagree with what you're saying because
Okay, you're about to go into like Friends territory with like, we were on a break. Like,
they
were broken up, yes, but like it'd be different if he went out, met some random girl, hooked up with her. But this is like a girl he was madly in love with. And she was madly in love with him. And she's already been a problem in Marissa and Ryan's relationship.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very different.
It really is different. I will say that. I will admit that. I do think that him finally laying that down, but her recourse was like really good, right? You know what I mean? She's like, yeah, you have a point. We're broken up, but also, hey, like it was just a couple days, and it wasn't like a random school kid. Summer and Seth, you know, this is where we find out really what's with Seth.
Are they okay? They're acting like Seth and Summer.
Right. Weren't they?
Didn't they like almost break up?
It's like literally 2 episodes. Seth had lunch with Summer's dad. They were going crazy. Then they were in Vegas. I mean, they did kind of make up in Vegas though, right?
I don't know. This is weird. I just feel like they like flopped over it. They made it such an issue and then it wasn't.
Right. Which is what we talked about. You gave us no emotional attachment with Summer's dad the entire season. And then he's a big deal.
And then
brings the wedge between Seth and Summer. And then out of left field, they go to Vegas and everything's perfectly fine again. It's
weird. I just don't get it. I also like that Summer just threatens to drop hot coffee on Seth the entire conversation. And then she's like, they're the perfect couple. I'm like, they've broken up I don't know how many times. Like, I have no idea how many times.
No, I don't either.
But that's why I don't count their breakups as breakups, because it's just like I'm mad at you. And then the next day they're like, fine. So I'm like, I don't know. I can't imagine calling them a perfect couple.
I do love, and see, the thing about it is Seth has never really been through an emotional roller coaster of things throughout his entire life, right? Everything's kind of been, yes, he's been very alone his whole life, but he's never really had conflict because he's never really had any friends. So like now that he has friends, he's not really well equipped to handle the emotions of potentially Ryan being a daddy. And the way he copes with these things is by joking. Like there's a lot of people I know that do that. I do that. You know what I mean? I know I do it. I'd rather joke and laugh about something than worry about having to. It's not a good thing. I'm not promoting that being a good thing. It's not. People talk to people. But I do think that this was the perfect moment for him to kind of explain himself of why everything that ever comes out of his mouth is really a joke, no matter if it's super serious or he's just having fun, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I do love how she also said that Marissa and Ryan were past the drama.
To be fair, they've been kind of like mellow recently.
Yeah. I mean, I guess with the whole, I just feel like me and the outstanding head of like past drama, they're past drama, right? You know what I mean? The people around them are. I guess their relationship has not been drama filled for at least like 2 episodes. So that's probably the longest stretch we've had where it's where Marissa and Ryan weren't at ends meet here. No, I thought it was hilarious. Summer just looks right at Seth and says, we're not having sex. Like it's off the table. Like it's not even a question. We're not even going to talk about it. We're not even going to look at it. And then Kirsten shows up to Teresa's work.
Yeah, she's trying to talk to Teresa, and Teresa's like really busy, which I don't understand because the last like 5 times they've shown the place, it's been empty.
Like Ryan and Seth were the only 2 in there every time.
It's weird, but now it's really busy, and she's like making jokes, like picking up 30 cents in tips, being like, "Gonna pay for the baby's college," and I'm like,
what?
This isn't funny. Like, this is a baby. Like,
it's a baby.
It's a human. Like,
I'm gonna clip that out for the rest of my life. It's a baby.
It's just like, I don't know. I get it though. Like, she just like goes to work and then isn't at work. So, and like only has time to freak out about it. Yeah. And I feel like no one's really talked to Teresa, which is what Kirsten's trying to do. But I'm like, she's staying at your house. Like, can you not find a moment when she's at home and not at work? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Why do you have to go bother her at her place of work, which probably doesn't know that she's pregnant?
Right. Yeah.
So like maybe don't go there to talk about it.
Yeah, or communicate with her, hey, I'm going to swing by on your lunch today, and let's just sit down and talk about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you're
But
right. I completely forgot about the part where, she's actually living with them.
yeah, I
So
just think like she knows Teresa has no one to talk to about it. Like it's just like Ryan who may or may not be directly attached to the baby. Like,
exactly.
and then she can't talk to her mom, which she's made very clear.
Yep.
Which means she can't talk to anyone else in her family because they'll tell her mom.
Yep.
And then she's obviously not going to talk to Eddie. So they know she's not talking to anyone. So like I really appreciate Kirsten going to talk to her. It's just like not the place.
Yeah, it's not. It's not at all. It's like nowhere near the time or the place to even have this conversation, which I thought was very weird. Again, when I watched it, now you really kind of like irked me with the whole fact that she does live under their roof. So it's like, what does that, like, why can't you talk to her at home at all?
Yeah, it's very bizarre.
Yes. Sandy has arrived.
Yeah, Sandy goes to see Caleb, who has quite the black eye. Like,
it's a shiner, boy.
Impressive.
I really did enjoy the black eye.
But he looks stressed. Like he is running his hands through whatever he has left of his hair. He's just like kind of staring off into space. And Sandy's like, that is the portrait of a man about to get married.
Yeah.
And Caleb kind of is like, you know what? Like, you fucked up my deal. Like, I was trying to save this company. And Sandy's like, what are you talking about? Like, Kirsten hasn't said anything. He's like, Kirsten works for the only profitable division of this company. She has no idea. And I'm like, okay, this was a thing earlier where you did something and Kirsten had no idea, but Kirsten's basically the one doing everything right.
Yep.
And then you guys are like behind her back doing everything wrong.
Yep.
Like, I don't understand.
I completely blown away by that part, right?
And then he goes, I'm trying to save this company. And you're like, maybe they're like tinkering in a downward spiral or something. And he's like, we're going bankrupt, Stanford. I'm like, Caleb with the dramatics, apparently.
Right?
Like,
exactly.
Like, bam. I was like, okay. And then he's like, he just keeps going on about like why Kirsten doesn't know. And I'm like, can Sandy like say something? Like, but Sandy's kind of just like in awe that it's like so bad that like Caleb is past the point of trying to hide it. Like he's just gonna come clean to Sandy. Like he's like, yeah, like it's this bad. We're going under. Like we're gonna be fucking bankrupt, man. Like it was just so funny to me. And Caleb, like Sandy's just kind of stepping back, taking it all in. Like Caleb really like losing it.
Yeah.
But it was just really funny to me that like Caleb like opened up to Sandy out of all people.
Exactly. I think it was just like the right place at the right time. And for me, what was funny is Sandy there at the end snuck in. They're so sneaky, but not so successful. I about lost it. Like I lost it. I mean, because you know, Sandy's not one to kick somebody while they're down, but it's Caleb, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so he kind of wants to. But this brings me back to the Vegas episode where remember when Sandy approached Vacation Jimmy?
Yes.
Shirtless, drinking a beer, just having the time of his life. And he's like, you know, that guy is here and he's trying to sell the land he bought from us for like way more. And Jimmy's like, dude, who cares? Like, he's just like, that's what he does. That's how he got to this place. And then obviously the Marissa thing just took it to another level. But I'm like, if Caleb had not done that Marissa maneuver,
yes,
everything would have been fine.
Perfectly fine, because they would have never went to the dinner. It would have been great. And
this brings me to my next point, which is Caleb, while he's talking to Sandy in this episode, is like, that guy wanted this property so badly because he owns the rest of the coastline.
Yep.
And this is the piece he was missing. And I'm like, okay, then he would still want it.
Yes, exactly. Maybe at a discounted rate now that he knows some things that have happened, but he's definitely going to want to be involved.
But honestly, like Sandy would go to dinner with Caleb if it meant saving Kirsten's livelihood.
100%.
And it's not even like Kirsten's livelihood. Like Kirsten really likes her job. Like,
yeah, because he mentions that part of his business is
successful.
thriving, but it's not going to be much longer because everything else is empty.
I feel like Sandy could fix it somehow with Caleb, with this guy. If he really desperately wants the property. I just felt 100%. Weird to me that he was like, that was a one-time shot. Like,
yeah.
Was it?
Yeah. I feel like maybe you go back to the negotiation table and maybe you knock off a couple of probably like 50,000 or whatever their deal was.
I'm sure it'd be a few 100,000, but it's like, it'd be easy. Like,
yeah. I just want to pause for just a second. I want to send a shout out to our buddy Jeremy, who has been giving us fun facts all year. He is watching us live as we're doing the show.
Cool.
So thank you, Jeremy, for the entire season. We look forward to some more fun facts in season 2. We've got some. He dropped some for us for the season finale as well. So I'm excited to give those at the end of the show. So, but yeah, thanks for joining us today, Jeremy, and thanks for the support all year.
Yeah.
All right. I love whenever they're sitting there talking and he goes, let's see here. Was that, did Ryan say that to Marissa? Who said that? Your mom has to wake up every morning and be
Jimmy. So
Jimmy
we cut to Marissa packing her apartment and Jimmy's apartment.
Which makes no sense. But
and Jimmy's like, it wasn't this hard when I was a kid. Like I didn't have to do all this stuff. And Marissa's like, you know what? Yeah, but like, mom just keeps on ticking. And I thought that was so funny because she's like insinuating that her mom is technically like a bomb. Yes. Like eventually one day she'll explode. Which was really funny. But then Jimmy's like, lay off your mom. And I was like, the fuck? Like, and he's like, every day she wakes up and she has to be Julie Cooper. Isn't that punishment enough? And I was like, like maybe, like, who knows?
I mean, in her head, she's about to wake up to one of the richest men in the world, like every day.
Yeah.
So like, is it really that bad to be Jimmy Cooper, I guess? Or Julie Cooper? Like, she's really
about to be Julie Cooper Nickel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then we see Seth. Is it Seth? Seth giving the names, right? I think that's what it was. Yes. No. Teresa is talking to Ryan here, I believe.
No, the Coens are like in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah. No.
And
yeah, that's what it is.
Sandy and Ryan are kind of like setting the table. And Sandy's like kind of telling him, like, we'll figure this out as like a family. Like, you guys don't have to go through this alone, which is weird because I'm like, did we miss the part where they tell him that like it could be Ryan's?
Yes.
But and then Seth is like, Mom, do we have any pudding?
Yes, that's what it was.
Pudding. And Sandy's like, we have great child raising skills, clearly. It was so funny.
So good.
But then we cut to Teresa. Yeah. Ryan goes to tell her dinner's ready and come on out for some dinner. And she's like, now's the time to talk to him. I don't know. Like, was she waiting for him to come? I don't understand. But she basically tells him that she's been thinking about it. And because she doesn't know whose it is and she doesn't really feel ready to raise a child, like she should be in high school. She's working for tips. It just is not the correct timing. And she doesn't want to bring a baby into that. So she's not going to have the baby. And Ryan doesn't like say anything really, but he looks definitely relieved.
For sure.
I think Ryan's thinking the same thing, which he brings up later. But they're very young. Like they don't like Ryan is just getting his life together. Like how's he now supposed to like raise a child like that? Like
exactly. Yeah, he's still on probation.
Yeah, right? And on top of all this, it could actually be Eddie's.
Right. So we could be pre-planning all these things and
well then like you don't want to bring a child into an abusive relationship. Like Teresa's already having a hard time herself getting away from it.
Yep.
So it's like she's thinking for the better of the baby, really. Like, I don't want to bring a child into that.
Yeah, because who's to say in her head, she's like, I feel obligated to be with Eddie now because it's Eddie's baby. And that whole trickle down effect, she just got away from that.
Yeah, she doesn't need to go back to him.
Right. Exactly.
Especially with a child. Like
exactly.
So I think she's making in her mind a smart, like on paper, it's a smart decision.
100%.
But Ryan looks relieved. And then we cut to, Seth talking about sailing.
Mm-hmm.
He needs to get some papers in order for his boat, which we haven't seen since I don't know the last time we saw it.
Yeah. That's because that was his best friend, you know what I mean? Outside of, yeah. So it was his
Before
best friend.
Ryan. Then Ryan showed up and he didn't need the boat anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And then, Kirsten arrives to talk to Teresa again.
But yeah, so she talks to her at home though this time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So she tells her, is there anyone taking to your appointment? She's like, no, I can't tell my mom because she's very Catholic. I can't tell, I don't want Ryan to do it. I can't tell Eddie. And Kirsten offers to drive her, which is very nice of her because nobody should go something like this alone.
Nope.
And then we cut to Marissa and Ryan talking about how things are going to go back to normal. And I'm like, what is even normal for y'all?
Right.
I don't.
What does that look like?
Yeah, because there's always been drama in the relationship.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's exactly. You went from Oliver, right? To that whole fiasco to, are we going to get back together? Aren't we going to back together? Then there was Teresa again. And then Teresa was staying, then Teresa was going, and then, you know what I mean? Then they finally kind of reconnect with each other, and then bam, Teresa's pregnant. It's been a whirlwind of events that is one after they officially got together after Luke, one after another, kind of back to back to back has really kind of hindered their relationship. So you're right. I don't know what normal is for their relationship. So yes.
Then we transition to another normal relationship. Caleb has a blindfolded Julie.
Yes.
And he is showing her maybe one of the most iconic TV houses of all time. He takes her blindfold off and she's like, this is a legit castle.
Yeah.
And it is. It's insane. I want to find it. It's the craziest house I've ever seen. It's huge, Mediterranean, overlooking the ocean. Just a wild house.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of the biggest houses ever. You know what I mean?
It's huge, and you
really
can tell
the three of them, which is weird.
Yeah, it's obviously for show, but it's just I don't even know. It's insane. But I love Julie's actually really happy. And I'm it's because it's a materialistic thing.
Exactly, 100%. And the first thing that I think in my head is obviously we know in the back of the head that Julie or Caleb is on the verge of being broke.
What is he doing with this giant house?
Right, exactly. So he's trying to keep her,
Also, where was Caleb living before?
That's a good question. I was thinking about that when I watched it. Oh, here we go. Hold on. Look at that. Look at the guy. Seth was trying to sell the boat, was on the show North Shore with Amanda Rigetti. The director of the episode directed the North Shore. I love that. Look at that. See, look at that. Fun facts in the middle of the episode. So here, what's funny, and it gets brought up later, but I wrote this down. Obviously, Julie dumped Jimmy for being broke, and then was marrying Caleb because we know that she's kind of a she likes the money. She likes the materialistic things, as you said. And now in the back of the head, Caleb is officially also potentially going broke as well. Yes. So Ryan says, then we transition to Ryan and Seth, and Ryan goes, "You're talking to a boat." And then, of course, Seth says, "Nobody says anything whenever I talk to a horse." And Ryan goes, "Yes, I do."
So funny. But this is a really sweet moment. Seth is telling him he doesn't really need the boat or his plan to go to Tahiti now that Ryan's there.
Yep.
And it's so sweet. And they're talking about taking their ladies to go to where did they say they're gonna go?
Oh, they're going to the oh my god, the island that they're always talking about. Yep, drawing a blank.
No, Balboa's the beach there. I don't know. Yeah. But
it's gonna have that cute. Normal summer.
Yeah, it's such a sweet moment.
Right. Yeah, because Ryan is is in a position of like this big weight was lifted off his chest, right? You know what I mean? So now that this big weight's lifted off his chest, the school year is coming to a close, and yeah, I think Jeremy just said Tahiti. I think it was Tahiti that they were going to, and so they're getting ready.
Oh, Tahiti's like in Mexico. Like Tahiti's like far. Like
yeah,
Tahiti's where he wanted to sail all summer. He said it was going to take 4 days.
40, yeah, whatever it was. Yeah, I thought it was like 50, yeah. So they were talking. It's just that it was a nice moment. You're right. It was kind of a relaxed, kind moment where everything was slowly coming back to normal, and that's kind of what happened there. So back to Teresa and Kirsten.
Oh, Catalina.
Okay. There we go. Catalina. So then we transition to Teresa and Kirsten. And
yeah, so they went to her pre-appointment where they were talking about the procedure and what she needs to do and what will happen in the appointment. And they're at like a really nice lunch. And Teresa looks really uncomfortable. And she's like, Kirsten's just like, you don't have to do this. Like, you can figure it out. Like, you don't have to go through with it if like you don't want to.
Yep.
And Teresa looks really like uncomfortable, but then she's like listening to her and she's like, I just don't have like the means to take care of this baby. And I don't really like know how to go about it. And Kirsten's like, and she's telling Kirsten that like her life is so perfect, she wouldn't understand. And she's like, you don't really like, it's not exactly what it looks like.
Right.
It was a really sweet moment. And I think it's so nice that Kirsten stepped up to be that person for Teresa.
Yeah, she needed somebody. She didn't have anybody. She talked about earlier about how she couldn't talk to her mom about this because of the religious background. Very heartwarming moment. And this is one of those moments where this was like a Sandy moment, but Kirsten, you know what I mean? Like This is like typically we see moments where Kirsten is that motherly figure, right? We see those, but it was one of those. It was like a early on Sandy and Ryan moment, but with Teresa and Kirsten. It was a very great moment. I loved it a whole lot. Kirsten was really good. Obviously, then we transitioned to Teresa telling Ryan that she is now going to have the baby.
Yes.
So Ryan's 15 minutes of the weight being lifted off his chest
are gone.
Are completely gone. Summer to Tahiti to wherever we were going. It's
definitely Catalina. Tahiti's way too far for 4 people on that boat.
Catalina, we're not going there anymore. And then Sandy comes in.
Well, it's like the next morning, and Sandy's basically yelling at Kirsten that like, what did you say to her? She was like on board, and now she's not. And Kirsten's like trying to be like, she had no one to talk to. I was just there for her, so she had someone to talk to. And I relate to this more than you could understand, which is like a really out of left field comment.
Yeah.
And Sandy's like, what does that mean? And it's just like weird because in my head, I'm like, they've been together forever, but like they had this whole life before each other, which is so weird to think about.
Yeah, I had those same feelings because like, I mean, I know obviously they had these lives before each other. Obviously we know where Sandy kind of grew up and stuff like that, but I feel like something like this pertinent never came up ever, I guess.
I can understand why. Like if this was obviously like with a past boyfriend 100%. Or something, she's not gonna tell Sandy everything.
Absolutely. I get that. Yeah, for sure. But Sandy's visibly upset. And then we transition to the pool house where Teresa is packing her stuff up to go home and drops the bombshell.
Yeah, so Ryan's like, you can stay. We can figure this out together. And she's like, no, I want to be with my family. And she's like, just come with me. Like, I'm just like, absolutely not. Like, but it's like, I get it. Like, she wants to be with her family. Being pregnant is going to be like a huge adjustment. Yeah. Like, she needs to be with her family. But like, it's so awkward because she obviously wants Ryan around. Like, she's going to need help. And like,
which we're still 50-50, not sure he's the father or not, right? You know what I mean? Like, we're still
Yes, but she knows she can't go back to Eddie, and it's probably easier for her to not go back to Eddie if she gets that support from somewhere else.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, you have to think about it. Like, she's not thinking about her; she's thinking about the kid,
Yes.
and she's not asking Ryan to like drop his entire life for her. It's for their kid, possibly.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the way I look at it as well, because it is dropping a bombshell, right? Because she is saying, I need you to kind of pick up your stuff where you're at, and I want you to move back with me because of our kid, right? You know what I mean? Like, the foundation is not, I don't want you just to be with, obviously Teresa does want to be with Ryan, but that's not even part of the factor anymore, right? It's the baby. We want to focus on the baby. She wants the baby to have a father figure in its life, right? You know what I mean? So if Ryan is the father, she wants the father to be there, right? So real quick, Daniel Maz says, I'm episode 20, season 1.
Spoilers, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, sorry in advance. But when you catch up, please tune back in, or just listen if you've watched it before. That's, you kind of already know what's ahead, kind of like we do. Geeky Gods, hello.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. And then Cowtowny Girl, hello as well. This is pretty exciting.
Hi.
People are coming to say hi to us.
Cute.
But yeah, so we transition into the big ginormous house. The one thing that I will say about this episode, the director, and the writing here, one of the good things they did was they weave in and out of the drama to comedy relief relatively decently, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, Daniel, please stop listening if you've never seen the show before.
Yeah, oh my gosh,
Please.
no. There's so many spoilers. Yeah. And 20. That's pretty far back, right? That's 7 episodes.
7 episodes. Yeah, there's a lot that happens. Hold on, let me go back now. I got to figure out what episode 20 was. 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22, 20. Telenovela. Oh my God, it's the best one. That's my favorite episode. So did you watch episode 20? Like, I'm completely going off the rails here. It's all right, though. Never watched the OC, but I'm here to support you too. Thank you. We appreciate that. Go watch the OC. It's on HBO Max.
Seth is very into comic books.
Yes, Seth very much is into comic books, talks about them a lot.
They go to Comic-Con. It's a whole thing.
Yeah. Rachel Wilson dressed up as Wonder Woman. Like,
yeah.
She does.
She does.
Yeah. They were pitching things, so.
I don't think that's a selling point.
I mean, it's a comic book character. Anyway. All right, back on the... Thanks.
Jimmy and Haley, as a couple, move Marissa into this house, which is so funny to me. But they keep calling. I did Leo.
Yeah, we knew it was you, Leo.
So yeah, check out the OC.
Yeah, we're still telling you to watch the OC no matter what you say. Like, but yes.
But so they like move her in. Marissa keeps calling it the mansion on Haunted Hill, which is hilarious. I just love how unfazed Marissa is at the size of this house. Like, so Julie comes downstairs and she's like yelling at Jimmy, who's yelling at her, and then Haley starts yelling. And I'm just like, oh my God. And Marissa is like so unaware of the size of this house. And she's like, can you guys just shut up? And she's like, Mom, like, you're getting what you wanted. I'm moving in here. And she's like, isn't that what you wanted too? And they all kind of just give her a look. Like, and I'm just like, everyone knows except Julie that like Caleb blackmailed her into living there. But Julie like goes like a cheap shot. She's like, you're only dating this one because you can't date Kirsten. And I was like, it was a bit too far.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That to me, that was funny. And then of course, what's funny to me is I really do think it's a little weird that he brought Haley with.
I don't, because
I mean, I feel like I know why he did it. You know what I mean? But I just feel like it's a little weird. I
think like, I don't know. Marissa likes her, so it's like, well, yeah, a little different.
And then I do love that Jimmy said there's a torture chamber down in the basement. That was just hilarious to me. Like, I just love him so much. And then we go to Seth and Summer, who is okay. So I've been very happy with Summer over I don't know, let's say the last couple episodes, right? I feel like she's been okay. I think she's been kind of back on like where we wanted her kind of at the same time. But
Yeah.
Like
She
her not putting 2 and 2 together. That is,
I don't know. It's pretty conceited to be like, "Did you name your boat after me?"
I guess
You would have hated it if she said it.
I guess you're right. Okay, fine. You got a good.
You would have been more mad at her had she said it.
I guess you're right. All right, fine. I take back any negative.
Okay, if you like went on like in summer, like had like I don't know, like summer's a name where it's really easy to be a boat name.
Yeah, you've got a good point. Yeah, so you would have probably.
It's not like her name is Rachel and like the book's name is Rachel Breeze. Like then you'd be like, okay, that's like kind of weird. But like Summer Breeze, like it's a boat name.
All right, I take back anything I was about to potentially say negatively about Summer. So,
but then they dropped the bombshell that Seth is selling his boat. He's like, I'm gonna sell it and give the money to Teresa for the baby. Exactly. And then he's also like, hey, I don't know if Ryan has told Marissa, so you could not tell Marissa.
Yeah, I do think it was sweet. And Jeremy, I don't think there is. There's no basements. I mean, maybe there is. Maybe there's like their wine cellar.
A lot of those houses, and you can see it from the outside, are built like the entry level isn't the bottom level.
Yes. Yeah.
So it wouldn't be considered like a basement, but it would be in a sense like it's not the main level of the home.
Yeah. Exactly.
You can see it from like the back of the house that it just like keeps going down.
But yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah. So
but not a basement. But it's not like that's a point if you've seen Zodiac.
Perfect. But you're right though. This was like a whoa Seth moment, right?
Yeah, like Seth is like just selling his boat. That's a big.
I mean, he hasn't probably used it in a couple months, so he could probably, sell it. But why he's selling it it blows my mind, right? It blew my mind just to know, like, the maturity level of what we've seen him kind of transition through has been amazing. Right?
Yeah, like if you think about it, he used up money that he says he didn't need from his bar mitzvah, which I can't believe how long he held on to it, like without using it. But then. Like, he's been all about helping Teresa. Like, he's understood it the whole time.
Yeah.
That, like, this is something really important to Ryan. So, therefore, it's important to Seth, which I really like.
Jeremy makes a really good point. Remember in the pilot where Summer's hitting on Ryan when converted by Seth? He says, I named my boat after her. And she says, ill, maybe her first ill. I will say this. It is funny. But at the same time, she was probably drunk, so she probably didn't remember. She
brings up later this episode. She didn't know they were at that party.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, she does. She does. I do remember that.
She's like, "You guys were at that party."
So funny.
But I love that we transitioned to this beautiful rehearsal dinner.
Yes.
And Seth is a groomsman.
Right.
I was like, "Wait a minute."
Caleb doesn't have any friends. You know what I mean? Like.
But he has to have like faux friends that he like surrounds himself with for like appearances.
Yeah, because a lot of people showed up to the shower.
The shower. More people went to the shower than the wedding.
Yeah, they did. It's very weird.
But Sandy goes up to Caleb and he's like, I talked to the DA and he's like, dude, it's completely over for you. Like, just there's nothing I can do. And Caleb goes, I'm really touched you tried to do anything.
Yeah.
And he sounded sincere. I was like, okay. Like,
what's happening right now?
This is weird.
Yeah.
But then Sandy brings up the point that you've been making. Isn't it ironic that Julie left Jimmy because he lost his money and now she's marrying you and you've lost your money? And Caleb looks at him dead in the eye and goes, I don't believe in irony. And then he's just like done with the conversation. I was like, okay, like even if you don't believe in it, it happens. Like,
so we credit a lot of Sandy throughout this entire season and Kirsten, the relationship of telling each other things. After the first couple episodes where I was very much on the bash Kirsten bandwagon for hiding certain aspects of certain things. If you go back early on the season, Kenzie would yell at me consistently about this, but Sandy doesn't tell Julie at any point. I was a little bit alarmed by
Does
it.
he tell Kirsten?
That's what I'm saying. Like, has he?
Like,
Sandy doesn't tell. He hasn't told Kirsten at all. He's known for approximately 24 hours, I think.
I think I understand if he was like trying to get information first.
Yeah, he was trying to negotiate with the DA or whatever.
At this point, shouldn't he tell Kirsten?
Right.
Because not only is it like her dad, it's like her job.
Yeah. Yeah, because he's going to have to start funneling the funds from over here to start paying off his debts over here. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I think he's past that.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I was very weirded out by this because I'm a big fan of their relationship and communication. I just felt like it was kind of yeah. So Ryan and the kids, they run away. We've got the pairs together.
Iconic life stand.
Iconic.
That is a set. It's not real. If anyone tries to tell you they've been to it, it's not real. It's a set. But whatever.
Yeah. That was the time that Ryan and Seth got their asses kicked by the water polo team.
But yeah, it's so sad. He's like, he seems really sad about this.
Yeah.
But I like that he tells them all together.
Yeah.
But he's like, I'm gonna go back to Chino. I gotta move there, take care of this baby with Teresa. It's so sad. And then it's made even worse that the next day Seth goes back to sell his boat and the guy bailed. So no $6,000 that he's giving to Teresa.
Seth is freaking out.
Yeah, he goes to the diner with Marissa and Summer. And they're all talking about how they don't want Ryan to go.
But nobody's willing to do anything about it.
Yeah, and Marissa's like, you know what? Like, there's not really anything we can do. But
we'll stop real quick. Yeah, I said goodbye to Slay here in Europe. Thank you so much. Oh my god.
Oh,
season 2 with the blue box set. Yes.
I love it.
Yes. Thank you for joining us.
Season 2 box set. Love it.
We can't wait for you guys to listen. Thank you for joining us here. But yes.
So they're all kind of heated, but Marissa's like, there's nothing we can really do. Like, Ryan wants to be there for Teresa. We just have to do, like, that's it. That's the end of the conversation. And he's like, well, you know what, Marissa, you've done enough. And she's like, what is that supposed to mean? He's like, Oliver. And I'm like, what? Like, yes, but like, what does that have to do with it?
Oliver didn't get so I guess his point here is this: if Oliver doesn't show up, Marissa and Ryan stay together. Their relationship's never damaged, which then in turn leads to Teresa never getting impregnated by potentially.
You know what though? Ryan. You know what though? You know what? If you're gonna go like that, do you know what the start of the problem is? Luke.
Well, yeah.
If Luke had never cheated on Marissa with Holly in Tijuana.
Yeah, exactly.
Then none of this would have happened. But that's like, I hate Oliver, but Oliver's not the reason for this.
No, definitely not. Like, not even remotely close, right? You know what I mean? It's
Ryan and Teresa.
Yeah, it's. I just thought it was so funny because he's going off the rails, right? Yeah, you know what I mean? Seth is off the rails.
But I think it's to highlight more what happens later on. That he is just like, this is his best friend and his only friend.
Yeah, it's
brutal. And then what's even more brutal is we cut to Ryan packing, and Sandy's like, just stay. We can work this through as a family. Like, Teresa can move in.
I feel like from this moment on, it's just nothing but heartbreak.
Yeah, from here on out. Especially Ryan goes, I don't want this kid to grow up like I did. Yeah. And I was just like, I hate it. It's so sad.
It is. It's just like, yeah. Which was weird because then we transition into we go from this emotional moment, and the wedding to me is funny, right? You know what I mean? It's not your typical wedding where you're like excited and it's going to be you're like, Julie's getting ready. Upset. Yeah, Julie's getting ready to marry Caleb. Why everybody Marissa is upset because Ryan's leaving town. Seth's upset because Ryan's leaving town. Sandy,
Kirsten, Jimmy's upset that Marissa's moving in with them.
Right. Everybody's sad except for Julie. And Caleb's upset too because he's going broke.
Yeah, but he
And
can't
Julie's
tell
just on
anyone.
cloud 9, right?
Yeah, Julie just has no idea what's happening. But also, like, can Julie like just talk to her daughter, maybe?
I do.
Um,
Oh,
but
jeez.
I didn't like who are any of these guests?
I have never. They haven't even been on like a single. None of the
And
Noopsies were there.
none of the Noopsies are there. Way more people, including Noopsies, went to their shower.
Right.
Like, I don't understand.
I don't understand
Um,
either.
but I like that the wedding is cut really short and it just goes straight to the reception, which is like insane looking over the ocean. Just so beautiful.
So gorgeous.
And Haley and Jimmy are like a couple and look really cute.
Yeah.
I love that Jimmy went to his ex-wife's wedding.
Yeah, so do I. Oh, absolutely.
I love it.
That's
His
parenting.
ex-wife marrying his ex-girlfriend's father.
And his current girlfriend's father.
Oh my God. So his ex-girlfriend and current girlfriend's father.
Yeah.
Wow, that's just weird.
That's too much. That's a lot to unpack.
But Sandy and Kirsten look really cute together, even though Sandy's in this like ridiculous ascot thing. It's horrible. But Marissa's being like really mature about everything to me. She like goes up to Ryan and Ryan's like, "Do you want to dance?" And she's not like yelling at him for leaving. She's like, "I understand why you have to do this. I just don't want you to." And I feel like she's really mature about the whole thing. Like, we've seen Marissa handle things. Like, it's like even with the Luke thing, like nobody wanted her to find out because of the way she would react.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she seems pretty mature handling this.
For now.
Well, till the next season.
Until the end of this episode.
No, that's a normal.
Well, technically it can be normal. Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah.
But then Seth is like sitting alone.
He's just upset.
He looks so sad. Summer gets sent to go find him. And he is just talking about how he's so sad that Ryan's leaving. And he's like, he's the only real friend I've ever had. And it was so sad.
And it's crazy because that's how it's introduced to us, right? At the very first episode, it's introduced that Seth is alone. Like
all the time.
All the time. He literally talks to a horse in his room, like legitimately. You know what I mean? Like, has full conversation. But we've seen their relationship grow. So he's really like, and then he even says the line that really got, before he got here, I was the biggest loser. I was like, oh, just like,
it was so sad.
It was heartbreaking, right?
But then he pulls a move. He like tells Summer, like, the boat's definitely named after you. It was so cute.
It was.
I don't understand the timeline here because everyone's at this wedding, but then we cut to the Cohen's house and they're all there.
Right. It was like a snap of her fingers.
Yeah. And like not dressed up anymore. Kirsten doesn't have her makeup done anymore. It was like really weird. But the empty pool house, it's so sad.
Oh my God. It's like whenever she's unpacking or undoing the no, it's not yet, but yeah, it's
Ryan's like packing up all the stuff. He's in his OG outfit, his white tank top, hoodie.
He's like, I'm gonna leave the same way that I came.
But him and Kirsten have this really sad moment in the kitchen that just like devastated me. And she gives him a lunch and she's like, "Don't worry, I didn't make it." And then she's like, "If I learn to cook, would that convince you to stay?"
So sweet.
But then they have like a really emotional hug. And then Sandy gets in the middle of it and he goes, "Kirsten isn't even a hugger."
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready. Who thought that like this entire episode like was a big Kirsten episode, right? You know what I mean? I just felt like it was a strong episode for her. And it was just a heartbreaking moment, which then leads to even a more heartbreaking moment.
Yeah. So Ryan goes to talk to Seth and Seth is on his bed, just won't talk to him, won't say anything. Ryan gets him a map of Tahiti, being like, "This is what you always talked about." And he's like, "So now you're going to have the boat and nothing to do this summer." Kind of like fucking mean.
It really is, though. It's like, like literally like a day before, we're planning the entire summer to go sailing, and now you're giving me a thing that I'm going to go by myself.
So like, But it's like he says when Ryan and him are on the boat, he's like, I don't need to go to Tahiti because I have you.
Yeah.
And now, like, he's like, you can go because you don't have me. It's kind of like fucking rude, Ryan. Like,
Exactly.
not very nice, Ryan.
No.
But Seth won't even get up. They start playing one of the most iconic OC songs ever. If you've watched ahead of this episode, for what is it, like season 3, episode 27, 26?
Something like that. Yeah.
The song Hallelujah by Jeff Buckley, huge deal in the show.
Yeah. Version of it.
Yeah. It's just so sad. And then so she picks him up, Teresa picks up Ryan, and like him getting in the car, and he's like driving by Marissa, which is very similar to the way he pulled up and like left the house when he tried to go back to his house the first episode. It's so sad. But nobody really looks happy. Like Teresa doesn't look happy because Teresa knows like she needs Ryan. Ryan needs to be there if this is his baby.
Yeah.
But like Ryan at the same time is giving up so much like for his own life.
Yep.
It's just so sad. Ugh.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. And then Seth has a bag packed, leaves a couple notes for mom and dad in summer. I'm like, what are you doing? It's just brutal. Marissa's house is insane. It's so huge, even though they only show us like 2 rooms total the entire time they have this fucking house. Like insane. But she's drinking again. Seth is sailing away.
And then
everyone looks sad, but then no one looks more sad than Kirsten.
Oh my God.
Who is like taking the sheets off the bed to obviously wash them, which is weird to me. Like, give it a day. But then she just starts sobbing, and Sandy comes to comfort her, and it's just so sad because, like, I think what this is trying to say is like the same thing it's saying about like Teresa, that like Teresa is doing the best thing for her child, not the best thing for her or Ryan.
Yeah.
And like Ryan Kirsten is doing the same thing with like, this isn't about them. It's like about she's doing what Ryan needs to do.
Yeah.
It's just so sad.
It's this last 15 minutes was like just this emotional train wreck of like whirlwind of a feeling. That I think what really broke me was that Kirsten scene, man. Like she is, whenever you see Kirsten throughout the show, she never really breaks down, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she gets angry. She's Seth, basically. You know what I mean? If you think about the character arc throughout this entire episode, where we talk about Seth doesn't know how to process his feelings, we understand where he gets it from, his mom. Instead of joking, she doesn't really joke about it, but like her sobbing, just like crying on this bed, I'm just sitting in my chair, like losing it, right? You know what I mean? It's just so heartbreaking. It's so sad. And I just wanted to cry. So yeah, what a episode. And that's hilarious. Well, fun fact: Adam Brody hated sailing, which is kind of funny to, realize. Before we dive into Jeremy's fun facts, do you have any fun facts?
Yeah, I have a couple. So the chapel they got married in is called the Wayfarers Chapel. It's actually like a really famous chapel. It's not very expensive wedding wise, in case anybody's interested, but it's on almost every CW show ever. Like it's on the reboot of 90210. It's on like so many shows I never heard of, but it was on if anybody watched Revenge and Lucifer, if anybody watched it. They're closed right now, but if anybody's interested, they do military discounts. They do so many weddings a day. It's insane. 10, 12, 2, 4, 6, and 8.
Jesus.
Yeah.
If you use
such a packed venue, like it's so popular.
If you use referral code the OC podcast, you get a 0% discount.
They're not open though.
Whenever you get
But
ready to plan a
so
wedding.
if you get married Monday through Thursday, the base amount is $2,900. If you get married Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and most holidays, it's $3,900.
Oh,
That's just the base deposit though,
yeah.
basically.
Oof.
So it's obviously more expensive. And then the final scene features all the regular occurring cast members except Julian Summer.
Oh,
But everyone else who's a recurring cast member is shown.
wow.
Yes, that's true.
Did it, Emily Van Camp. One that obviously Jeremy pointed out earlier, I didn't put it up there because it was going to be part of the fun facts, was obviously Marissa makes a comment, Sandy living with Kate was like living with the house on Hunting Hill, which Peter Gallagher was in that movie as well.
The remake of the movie.
Well, yeah, a remake of the movie. Yeah. So, yeah. Wow. First off, I just want to throw it out here before we go. Can you believe
that
we're at the
MVP
end?
was definitely Kirsten?
Oh yeah, I forgot the MVP part. Yeah, there's nobody else to give it to. Like literally, maybe
every
Seth,
interaction she has. No, because Seth. No, you're not rewarding Seth for running away. No.
Oh yeah. Well, see, the thing about it is like okay. So here is the verge of the MVPs. You could have put Marissa until the last moment Marissa's on the screen. You could have put Seth until the last moment.
No, but just Marissa. You know, like it's an addiction, even though she's underage, and I don't know where she's getting like these bottles that perfectly fit in her purse. I don't understand.
I guarantee there's nothing else in her purse but a bottle of liquor. But
which is fine. But then like they show her pulling other stuff out of her purse, so I'm like, no.
You could have put Jimmy.
Yes, but he's not in the episode enough.
Yeah.
And like I don't like his fight with Julie because he's come so far.
Yeah, that was a very yeah, but you're right.
He just doesn't have enough scenes. But I'm very pro Jimmy until he disappears.
So for me, obviously Seth, I think Seth could have been the MVP leading up to that moment, like him running away. But it's 100% Kirsten. I've never been so emotionally attached to the word, like what she's been saying throughout this entire season. And she has some flaws, but they're all basically early on in the season. Where I
think that was just like the writers didn't know what they were doing with her. Like,
yeah. And then like her, like obviously Jimmy's had probably like the best arc. Maybe Seth has as well. But
I think Jimmy for sure, because like I hated Jimmy at first. Like, I was like, this is so like
when he got punched in the face at the party, I was happy.
Yeah, but it's like I feel like he shows you that like humans make real mistakes, but they're still like fathers and people.
Yeah,
like
he's got a redemption story. I love a good redemption story. You know what I mean?
He literally went from like a loser to a millionaire. I don't understand how, but like, okay.
All because of Sandy Cohen.
Honestly, their friendship, MVP of the season.
Yeah, I absolutely love their friendship too. Like they're the best of the best. Yeah. So guys, I cannot believe we just went through the entire first season of the OC. We've had several questions asking if we were going to go on to season 2. We are. Next week we will be back with season 2, episode 1, which is going to be a whirlwind of events. Just because I
haven't. So I rewatched this show a few years ago, and I've been very like, oh, the first season's the only really good season. I like a lot of the things that happened in the very beginning of season 2, though.
Yeah. And the other thing, I clicked on season 2 real quick. I'm not going to say anything else about it, but the season 2 finale has a higher rating on IMDb than the season 1 finale does. So
really?
Yeah, it does. It's actually It actually has the same rating as the pilot does.
Weird.
Yes.
So that's very weird.
I just figured I'd throw that little tidbit out there before we go. Make sure to head on over to Twitter. First off, thank you everybody that watched this live, that jumped in and out. We'll keep this live episode up for everybody as we do on the YouTube channel every week. If you want to subscribe to the show, head on over. We're on iTunes, we're on Spotify, we're on Stitcher, whatever else other podcast platform we are there. Thank you again for the support. Like the support on this show is it blows my mind each and every week. Kenzie and I talk about it every week. There's comments, the support on Reddit, the support on Facebook. Everywhere. We really do appreciate it. Make sure to follow Kenzie on Twitter at KenziVanunu. Give myself a follow at Ricky Valera _. And yeah, we'll see you guys later.